Barbara Barrigan-Perea with Delta Flows, a radio show by the Voice of Stockton and Restore the Delta. This is the weekly radio show where we discuss everything Delta related: the environment, water management, water quality, farming, history and culture, public events, recreation, Delta
Voice of Stockton and KXVS Radio. I will discuss relevant issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
KXVS LP Stockton.
This program does not reflect the views of KXVS management or KXVS, the Voice of Stockton.
Hi, this is Joy Neas with Behind the Art Scene on KXVS, the Voice of Stockton. And today my guest is Drew Hunt. He's the owner of the Art Lab on the Miracle Mile. Welcome, Drew.
Stockton. Hi, Joy. How are you today?
All right. And could you tell us what the Art Lab is? What do you do there?
Ooh, what the Art Lab is, what do we do there? So at the Art Lab, we provide a space for people to come in and be creative, explore their inner artistic selves. We do a lot of different activities for the community. We provide this space for different local charities, charitable organizations, and fundraisers. We also do, on every Saturday from 10 to 11:30, we do a free event for the children, ages 5 to 14. And then we do private parties, birthday parties, paint parties. We now have new hours starting February 14th, which is a Wednesday. And we're going to be open to the general public from 10 to 5, Wednesday through Saturday. Is that how I sound on the radio? Oh, my gosh. It's like listening to when you hear your message of yourself. Okay.
So you were saying you have new
that's
hours?
How I look also. Yes, so we have new hours, 10 to 5 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday. And at these hours, you can come in, and there's going to be a number of different things you can do. You can paint. You can create your own shirts, your own hats. So it's going to be, I think one of the new terms they're using is maker's space. Is a term I've seen. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're exactly a maker's space as defined by Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. And I believe Wikipedia now owes me $50. I don't know how it works here at this place, but so really what we're about is, it's real simple. Part of every community, a big part, in my opinion, of every community should include the arts, should include the expression, should include people talking about our human condition and where we're at. And one of the ways we do that is through the arts. And we're the visual arts. There's a number of different arts, but the Art Lab is about the visual arts. And really it's about giving a second choice, a different voice, letting the children, the younger artists know that being an artist is something you can be when you grow up, and that it is a viable choice, and that it is important to the community. And if you look at any great societies in the past, you see that the arts were very important and were cherished and supported by the community and the government, the local government. And then if you look at the cities right now that are important, the San Franciscos and the New Yorks and the Parises, they all have very vibrant both art scenes for people to pay and collect, and the capitalistic part of it, but also the street arts and the stuff, just people getting out there and when they have an opinion or something they want to say or something that needs to be heard. And I think the message of some art is not anything other than the expression itself. I'm not one who believes that all art has to have a political agenda or stand for something. I think it's important just aesthetically to see what's going on in people's heads, on their city, outside, externalizing what's internal. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you have that opportunity for children. I know, growing up, I had many different arts opportunities, and that all helped to make me who I am. So just the fact that you have that available for free, and all the kids can come in and experience art. Now that they're cutting art in the classrooms, and there aren't as many opportunities, it's good that you're here giving us some more.
Well, we wanted to charge them, but the kids kept bringing in nothing but pennies and nickels.
Oh, there we go.
No, we never wanted to charge them. Kids are broke. No,
Sure.
I really, what it's really about, it's real simple. When I was 18 years old, where I went to high school, Lincoln High School, where I went to high school, we were all talking about leaving. That was the whole thing, right? Turn 18 and get out of Stockton. Well, I didn't feel exactly that way, because this is where my family is, and a lot of good friends are here. And I always say Stockton's, the salt of the earth. That's what makes Stockton so great, is the people. And I didn't really want to necessarily leave. But when I went looking for something to continue, to something to do now that I was no longer going to school every day, and I looked for an artistic community to become a part of, and I looked for different opportunities for an excuse or a reason not to leave, and I couldn't find it. So I did leave. I went to San Francisco, then I went to Los Angeles, and then I went everywhere else in between. Well, San Francisco and Los Angeles are pretty close, but I've been to a lot of different places.
So when did you leave?
At 18, right at 18.
What year would that be?
94. Yeah, and then as I went to these different cities and realized that what they were lacking was the heart and soul of a town like Stockton, where people are familiar and you have these, a sense of community. It's not just people coming in and trying to use the town up and get theirs, as they say, and move on. I wanted to bring that opportunity that I didn't have, that the 18-year-old me was looking for, back to Stockton. And that's kind of what I'm about right now, is trying to make being an artist a real viable profession for someone who lives in Stockton without having to leave Stockton, because I believe staying in Stockton is what gives you the unique voice. The saying we have at the Art Lab is nobody from nowhere, and we're really embracing that. And I think that's kind of what Stockton's all about. We're overlooked. They don't see us coming. But I think also we have a real unique voice because of that you don't get in some of these bigger cities. And so I'm trying to foster that. I'm trying to help the people who want to spend their energy and time creating art to have an outlet, and everybody has to pay rent. So how do we put those two things together? And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Not for myself necessarily, but for the community in general, and for the future.
Yeah, I attended a really interesting meeting over at the Downtown Stockton Alliance, and they were talking about investment. And that seems to be what everyone's interested in, how much money you're going to invest. But, I've lived here for 25 years coming this year, and I've invested all my time. So that's you can invest a lot of other ways than just your money. I put my whole heart into this city, and bringing art in, being able to, have art experiences, exhibit my art, be with all the different arts groups, and make things happen. So I'm so happy that you're making this happen for us. You have such a wonderful body of work all over the walls of the art lab. How many pieces would you say are on exhibit right now?
100-ish. I don't know. There's stuff in the basement and upstairs, and
every available wall you have a piece of your art.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of, and my intention is not just to maintain my artwork. That was really just the starting point. We're just getting going. Right. I'm really looking for, it's a call to all artists. But I do have to tell you, I think the thing that is going to make it work is there does have to be some scrutiny. And Joy, I think maybe me and you vary a little bit on this, because for me to make it an economical thing, which I always struggle with that, because I really don't necessarily support personally, I don't sell my own original artwork. And I don't know, that may change, and maybe it's out of fear, quite frankly, or maybe it's I don't want to hear what it's worth. I don't want to hear a dollar amount, unless it's 3.2 million. 3.2 million, take your pick. That's my position. I say that as a joke. I mean, because artwork becomes worth those crazy numbers.
Sure,
but once they become those crazy numbers, it's rich people collecting souls. I don't want to get too far into that. But it seems to me that you have to, as with anything, you have to offer a product that is of quality. It has to be, one of the terms I like to say is you have to have paid your dues. Because part of being an artist is finding your voice. And you find your voice through hours and hours of sitting in front of a canvas. Just like someone who writes finds their voice. Now, of course, there's some people, their first book, their story, their savant, geniuses, whatever word we use, great and good for them. And nothing against them. But I believe that an artist is forged through hard work.
Sure.
And so what I want to do is I want to set the standard. I want to set the bar a little higher than maybe it's been set recently here in Stockton. And all I mean by that is I want people to walk into the art lab and have artwork that speaks to them and feel good about spending. And this is where the economical part, the business part of it comes in. I believe if we can get a $20 or a $30 price point where someone could come in and spend $20 or $30 and connect with an artist and buy a cup or a hat or a shirt, and then maybe a $100 print that's framed and matted and ready to be hung. And then if they can have the artist in the lab, or they don't know what day of the week the artist may be there, the artist may just stop in to say hello. So there's this connection. And at the same time, people can feel that when they come in, they don't know what's going to be there, but they know it's going to be of quality, and they know there's going to be a good selection. And it'll be the place where they can come and connect with the artist, spend some money, support the artist, and at the same time, it's not as though they're giving to a charity or giving money towards something they don't, just to support it. They'll leave with an object that they now can cherish, something that they will fondly place in their living room, that they will put, use and well, I guess I already said it, cherish, something that's important to them.
Yeah.
So I think that the goal is to, and the way I think this works is it's a call to all artists. Come show me your work. Let's talk about doing a show. Because in my mind, first we do the show, then we hold a few of their pieces behind, and we turn those into prints, limited shirts, limited hats, and they don't sell their original work. We just sell representation, prints of their original work. And then we continue on to the next artist. So each artist that comes through, some of their art is left behind. And it's left behind to be purchased, and then that can directly go back to, a portion of that goes right back to the artist. And again, at the end of the day, it's a unique place where you could come sit down, do some artwork, and then also purchase some local art. And it'll be a place where, when you need to get a birthday present for your dad, it's the spot to come. And you don't know what you're going to get, but there'll be something there that speaks to you, that's affordable.
Yeah, whenever I travel, wherever I go, I'm always looking for the little art gallery and, a unique piece of art, something I can afford. I'm collecting art all the time.
Right.
So it's wonderful to be able to collect, local Stockton artists, and also to be able to make art in your space. And you said that you've opened the art lab to other functions, other activities?
So what did we have? We had the Central Valley American Asian Commerce. Am I saying that?
Oh, the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. I always forget the chamber part.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce. They just had I think they have 4 a year. So I don't know. I know semi-annual, quarterly. I guess their quarterly mixer was just at our place on Thursday. Peace and Justice League is doing their yearly event at our lab here coming up. Gosh, we've done we did a forum with you, Joy.
Yeah, we did the public art. We talked all about public art, and it's so important just to have a space to be able to get together and share ideas. and that's what we really need in Stockton. So I know that I love what you did for you had Thanksgiving Thanksgiving meal, like a potluck. Everybody brought something.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was not needed better planning, but it was we were using. The meaning was there, the purpose was there, and we had a great time. And a number of my friends came, and we sat and ate. And some less fortunate people. I always struggle with what term to use, but I think less fortunate is the one we're going to stick with. Came and ate, and it was a lot of fun. We've been doing some pop-up restaurants, and we're doing some live music. We had a group of Samoan men come and sing some traditional Samoan music, which was really great.
That was wonderful during Arts Week.
Yeah, it has a really great acoustics.
Are you going to be doing more of that?
Yeah. So the plan is, again, we're just getting going. So really what's happening, to delve, I guess, a little bit into my personal affairs, is I'm also an attorney, and which is nice in the fact that it funds, and I just got out of court. This is what I wear to court, so they're a little difficult on me. The idea behind it was that was going to be the funding, because as the public is soon to find out, it's difficult to maintain, I don't know what I call what we are. It's difficult to maintain, what do you call, like a gallery, I guess is the term, right? So it's difficult to maintain a gallery where there's no funding, or where they're not selling pieces of art that are bringing money profitable into the gallery. Sure. Like in San Francisco, a lot of those galleries exist, but it's a store. It's a Macy's or a Dillard's. I mean, it's meant to sell. That's what they do. It's not necessarily meant to be a part of the community or to encourage local artists. And my whole thing was, if we can get rid of the necessity of raising money, and it can have funding in place for it. So it's not a nonprofit, and I personally fund it. So all of our free activities and everything, they're being funded by me as the sole proprietor. Now, my intention is at some point for this to become profitable. Will that happen? I don't know. Does that have to happen? Probably needs to at some point. But again, if I'm willing to continue doing my other job and use that money without concern if it becomes profitable or not. And what I've also done is I've put the law practice inside of it, which enables me to spend monies for the law practice, and the art lab gets the benefit of being at the location, of having the heat on, of having the internet, of having a telephone, of having a copy machine. Right. So by doing that, I have kind of funded the art lab within the same location.
Yeah, a lot of people have donated to the art lab, right?
So we don't accept donations.
But donated paint, donated supplies.
Oh, I apologize. Okay, so yes, we do accept the paint donations we've got so far. So what we do is we use old house paint. And actually, as an artist, that's what I do as well. I don't purchase paint. I use old paint that's being recycled. So we do accept that as donation. And then some people have brought, Joy, you've brought a few things.
Yes, I've brought several things.
Right, you brought a few things. And we did take food donations during Thanksgiving. But as far as monetary donations, we don't, because it's not a nonprofit. Sure. So we don't accept donations in that fashion. But yeah, things that lead back towards the free events for the children, absolutely.
And I know that a lot of people have donated their time, given their time to help you. You know,
my mom, Trish Hunt. Thank you, Mom.
So to help you offer those classes, you had to have, various people to. I think you have like at least 50 kids in a room. So
60 is our new number. We're doing 60 every Saturday. Yeah.
So how many? I know that Regina Rose is instructing. Who's helping her?
So Regina Rose is she is our in-house resident artist, And she does all of the private events. She does the paint parties, the Thursday night paint parties, the birthday parties. But the Saturday, I'm actually teaching that now. Regina has, but now it's going to be me, and I have been leading that for the last few weeks. And we have 2 or 3 interns that are involved, and then my mother, Trish Hunt, is there every Saturday. And we have it now where with myself instructing, we're able to do it with 2 assistants, and 3 is ideal. And what happens is we've actually been able to go out and get parents in line who want to volunteer and just kind of ask. And they've been coming, and some stick longer than others. We have Miss Elizabeth right now who's been doing it the last couple weeks, and it looks like she's going to be long-term. And Miss Jazzy is in there helping us as well. So it's now getting to the point where we're kind of getting a core group for Saturday. And I guess I can make this pitch now. So as to our private events and the birthday parties and the paint parties, we are looking to hire. We're in the hiring process. We've posted at UOP, Delta, and Stanislaus, and we're looking for individuals who have an artistic background, who have a bubbly personality, who like working with children and adults. We have all ages. And that's a paid position. That's a paid hourly position. So it's very freelance, though, because it's kind of just as we have events. When we have the hours, going to the hours of 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., I'm going to be there opening the door. So when you come in, you'll see me. So
that'll be very good.
Yeah, well,
I love being able to walk into a space.
We're looking forward to it. I'm a little stressed out over it, and it's kind of a change for me because now I'm having to compartmentalize the law practice into certain days, Mondays and Tuesdays when we're closed, and then after hours with the consultations. And I'm kind of backing off from what I was doing. I'm shifting gears a little. I'm trying to balance my passions.
Right. Oh, very good.
Yeah, balance. That's the key word for today. Do you do keywords on your show? The key word today is balance.
I haven't, but
Governor?
That sounds very good. Balance. I need balance.
Yeah, I think we all do.
So, can you tell everyone what you're doing at the Chavez Library?
Wow. Okay, so this is talk about balance. So
yes,
I'm really overwhelmed because what I did was, as one of my mentors said, I have overfilled my plate. The phrase he has for me is that I aim. No. Fire. Ready. Fire. Aim. That's the phrase he has for me. I fire, and then sometimes I aim after. Now that's not always true. That's not always true. And I have to be careful, I guess, what I say, because I do represent people as an attorney. And in that I am meticulous.
Sure.
So it's interesting because part of me as an artist is very free-flowing and open to ideas and jumping into what comes next. But as an attorney, things have to be filed on certain dates and have to include a certain amount of information, and I have to be there at a certain time when I say I will. You know, It's very serious, and I take that very serious, and I'm very effective as an attorney. So it's kind of a unique mix. But as to the Cesar Chavez, I was asked by the library, I think they measured it as 36 feet, and you were familiar with it because of I think that's a maker space, isn't it?
There is a maker space. They've set up a room in the library as a maker space.
So it's just beyond that. So the wall you kind of pass, and the wall's a little hidden. There seems to be a lot of periodicals.
Yes, the wall is the full wall behind the reference desk. So you have the reference desk,
right,
and there's all these stacks of materials, and then you have the wall behind that, and then if you go even further, you get to the maker space.
Do you know what those books? What is a reference book? I don't even know what they do.
A reference book is something you don't take out from the library. You have to. they're usually old books.
Like the law books over there.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, but law books are just for photographs now. No one really.
But,
it's all on computer. Yeah.
like if you're trying to find out the history of Stockton, that's where you spend a lot of time going through their materials that you cannot take out from the library.
And a lot of that may have not been digitized. I mean, a lot of that is very original.
Like in San Jose, at one point we were going to have a state of the art library. A whole group wanted to have one by 2020 in 2 years, but in San Jose they have a whole room.
I'm sorry, Joy. Isn't the world ending in 2020?
To research and reference, so you could walk into a separate room.
Oh, I see.
That would be my preference, but
right. So it'd have its own. Right. I mean, a library should have books in it, right? Last I checked.
But to be able to have a special history room, for like right now, the best place to do any kind of research about Stockton history is over at UOP in their archives in the basement of their library, the whole Atherton collection.
Which is, as a student and through the years, that's where we always went. Was UOP because of all the little booths they have, the private areas downtown, and just the accessibility, you know.
But the rest of all the archives are housed in the Chavez Library. It's just very difficult to access.
So I grew up going to the Cesar Chavez Library. It wasn't called that when I used to go. I think it was just called Downtown Library. I don't know. Has it been, since you were here, has it been 25 years? Has it been called Cesar Chavez?
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
As far as
maybe it was. Yeah. I don't think. So I used to deliver the newspaper.
So what are you doing for the wall?
Yeah, refocus me. Okay, well, so for the wall, 36 foot, and initially they had asked me to put up some of my artwork, my already created existing artwork. But then I got inspired to do original work for them, and my idea initially was to do. To do images of people's, there's a name for it. I should know the name.
The portrait.
Yeah, portraits. I don't do a lot of portraits. That's why I don't know the name. So it was to do portraits, and my idea was to do Stocktonians. I believe his name's Dave, that sweeps the street, pushes his garbage can up and down the street, and I was going to do Governor Don, took some photos of Governor Don, and as I got going, I realized that I'm not very effective at portraits unless I can have connected, really know the individual, because my work is kind of caricature. So who the person is kind of part of the whole thing for me, more than aesthetically getting the color of the tone of the skin right. It's kind of the essence of the person. And so the people I started doing was, I did my father, and then I did my mother, and then I did my two nephews. And so the next thing, it was this very personal, and it felt too personal. It didn't seem like it connected. What was the point of me putting my own relatives up on this? So then I realized, well, I want to do something about Stockton. So I decided to do a mural, 35 foot. It's actually 8 panels and they're 4 feet, 32 feet it's going to end up being. And it's going to be the history of Stockton. So it's called The History of Us. And then I started thinking about the history of Stockton and the different murals I had viewed regarding that, or with that subject matter. And it seemed like it was always kind of the riverboat and Bank of Stockton and just different things that were specific to Stockton, but really kind of always about iconic buildings or maybe a few iconic people. But I really wanted to get into this idea that we have this shared history, that if you're standing looking at this mural right this moment, whether you've been in Stockton 1 week or you're third or fourth generation, at some point you've stepped into this timeline of Stockton and what Stockton is. So it was this idea that, because with my ethnicity, just a run-of-the-mill white person, I don't have traditional aspects to my heritage, or at least I don't participate.
What is your ethnicity?
Right, so it's
German,
English
or,
and it's all of it's Western European with maybe a little bit of something else mixed in there.
Well, actually, Stockton was founded by a German. So
is that Weber?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's in one of my panels, but I guess the point was, I don't have a quinceañera, or I don't have traditional food or traditional holidays or people I can look to as my heritage. So what do I have? I have Stockton. I have the food truck and the asparagus festival and the Delta and hot summers and driving just outside of Stockton to all the agricultural areas and 8 Mile. And so really my heritage is or my culture is the shared culture of all the different people and foods and festivals that happen in Stockton. So I think that there's other people out there that are the same, that really what they are is what Stockton is. So that's what it became for me. It was this idea of this long history, and I wasn't sure where to start it. So now it begins with the beginning of the universe,
Okay.
which is maybe somewhat problematic because people have different philosophies as to how the universe began.
Yeah.
What I have done is I've created kind of a melding. Is melding a word? A melting or a...
Melding.
Melding is a word, yeah.
It is a word.
Should be.
Yes.
So a melding of my personal beliefs, and it's kind of a combination of religious and scientific concepts, but then I start thinking about it. There's so many different religions, and they all kind of have their own story. So I didn't get too carried away in that. Otherwise, I could spend the whole panel on just that. So it's kind of just a brief little beginning of the universe, and then into the indigenous people, and then into the history of Stockton, and then it kind of into the modern Stockton. And at the very end, the last image is. Should I save what the last image is?
You can.
Is that a? I think it, and yeah. If it ends up being what I think it's going to be, I think it'll have an impact.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we are going to show it February 10th. We're having an early premiere at the lab, 6 to 8 p.m. That's a Saturday, and then it actually gets installed. That following Tuesday. I guess Monday's a holiday, or at least for the library it is. So it gets installed that following Tuesday.
So how long is it going to be up?
I don't know. At the art lab, it'll only be up a day or two.
Yes.
And at the library...
at least a month or more? Or?
Gosh, I would hope so, because it's taken me about a month to make the thing.
Sure.
It's been a lot. It's been, and that's kind of my thing, is I don't... Typically, I'm used to deadlines when it comes to my other profession, but when it comes to art, rarely am I up against deadlines. So it's new to me, and I've had to schedule when I paint. And it's odd to me because painting or creating art is a lot like working out or sports, where the first day you do it, an hour or two, and you drift off, or you lose your concentration, and then after a week maybe you can go 3 or 4 hours, but it takes a few weeks to get back into your stride where I can actually sit in front of a canvas for 8 hours, which is what this demands. And I just find that really interesting because, as with anything else, part of the process is discovering who I am. It's really about me, which is weird because. I'm going to do this for everybody else and for the library. It's like, nah, this is this internal exploration into who I am. And then I'm choosing what to put up there. What images are important? What is Stockton? And I'm thinking about how do I not offend? And how do I tell everybody's story? And how do I not tell the story I was told that isn't the accurate story? So it's confusing and enlightening. And Captain Weber, he was new. I'd heard that name. I knew Weber and all this, but I mean, and then kind of hear his story or read his story and then to have this other little subplot of how Mexico had given him a bunch of land and how that was a conflict with the natives, and then how California became California a few days after the gold rush. So there's just all these kind of, and is that all going to make it in there? No, folks, it's not all going to make it in there. So I'm sorry. But, you know, with my artwork, I do a lot of writing, Joy. I think you're familiar with my work. I write on my work. So there is going to be the imagery that tells the story, but there's also going to be, and the way I write, I don't use commas or spaces or periods. So you have to kind of sit there and figure out what's being said.
So that's a little bit like Bob Laird.
Bob Laird, yeah, the poet.
Yeah, so he does his poetry with, makes it an art piece. So.
Right. So I think mine was out of necessity, or maybe just looking at other artists that I respect, where the word, you know, I'm going to say his name wrong, Basquiat. I think that's how you say it. Jean-Luc Basquiat. Basquiat.
Okay.
He, in an interview I saw, was talking about, they asked him about why he writes on his canvases, and then they said, and why do you cross words out? And he said that he finds that crossing the word out can make it more powerful. That it makes people look at it and say, why did he cross that word out?
There you go.
And really what it opened up in me was the idea that the words can be part of it, and the imagery of the word can be just as important as what's being said. And then also words can be used very abstractly, which was a newer concept to me. And this is quite a while ago. I've been writing on my paintings for a lot of years, but to think that one word can be in there with its meaning not necessarily reflective of the image, or crossed out or repeated, and all of those things have an impact. And what it is, I don't know. I don't know always. Sometimes it's just aesthetic. Oh, there was a space, and I use a lot of words over alone. I use a lot open. I use a lot. My dog always ends up in my paintings, if you notice. Very connected to my dog. She's next door right now.
Did you say that there was going to be an interactive component, some way that?
Yeah. So that was the brrr. So yeah, I think the final image of the whole thing, the payoff should be that somehow you, as the viewer, feel that the whole thing leads up to the moment of you standing there looking at it, and that you become a part of it. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off, or if it's going to work.
I don't know if there's a way that maybe people could leave a message for you, or
you meant as far as what goes on it?
Just some way that that they could contribute to the
okay, that's interesting, because initially my idea was I was going to paint it here in the lab with the door open and people would walk in and interact. But what has happened is I could not quite get, so I've never really done a lot of work. I've done some paintings at the lab, but I haven't really done a lot of work at the lab. So because this became such an internal thing that required kind of all of my senses and research that I don't know why, but I didn't anticipate there'd be research involved, and looking at old photos, which only, when anything before 18 whatever, there are no photos, but maybe other artists and paintings. It turns out that it was necessary for me to do this in my living room, which is, I've created, majority of my work happens. My dad always laughs because he says I'm the cleanest artist he's ever. I don't really get paint anywhere, so I can kind of paint anywhere. Although I've had studios through the years where I do get a lot of paint, and I enjoy flinging paint as much as the next artist. But so I kind of actually paint off of my couch. Is that embarrassing? Am I embarrassed by that? Maybe. I don't know. It's weird. I paint in my lap. I take when I write and draw. I want it flat. When I paint, it's on an easel. So I'm always kind of back and forth. And these canvases are 3 foot by 4 foot. So I'm drawing upside down and leaning on things. And yeah, it's and it's right there in my living room. And I get to watch the people who I live with interact and see it and talk about it, and that's rewarding for me. But also I'm sensitive and vulnerable like everybody else, so as things are being created, it's kind of like not having your shirt off in public or whatever, and, knowing that you have your flaws or whatever you perceive as your flaws. And no, don't worry, I'm on a diet or I'm working out. I'm saying that about the art. Hey, don't worry, that's going to be blue and that's going to be, and then there'll be, so there's a vulnerability that I think stopped me from, with my hoodie on and, do the interview like this, but that I don't think I was ready to do in front of people. And my idea is to work. So I'm going to be, when the hours, when we're open, I have an area where I will be working. Okay. But I just guess I wasn't quite ready on this
All right,
one.
so I have an idea for you.
Oh, okay, great.
Because I love when I go to your Facebook page and you have a lot of photos of, this is what we did in class today and whatever for the kids' days. And
that's all new to me, Joy.
And
I never did it.
But you're always posting photos and updates. And so I'm thinking that people could go into the library, could see your piece, and then could leave you some kind of a response. And could post it on the Art Lab on Facebook.
I love it. With a hashtag or something?
With a hashtag or something.
Right.
And so all these people could contribute to the piece, and maybe that could lead you to another
I love it.
Work or something.
I love it.
So.
I love that idea.
Okay.
It's similar to one I was thinking, too, where I was going to have a spot in the Art Lab where when you come in, you take your photo in front of like one painting, and then you do a hashtag. Right. So and everyone takes it kind of, and that's from Andy Warhol when he had the Silver Factory in New York. It was Polaroid, and when people come in, he'd put them in front of this same area, and he'd take their photo, and then he'd put their photo on the wall, and there was this huge wall with just, and of course his people were, who's in the Rolling Stones? Right, Mick Jagger and other famousies. Yeah, they were far out. So his wall was, I'm just talking about me and you and other Stocktonians, right? And, maybe locally we're known, but still the point was it connected people back to it. They became a part of it, and that's really what it's all about. I'm wanting people to be like, I'm at the lab, here, I was there. Like how you write your name, whatever, John was here.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of what I'm hoping for, is this idea that people feel like the Art Lab is theirs. That's what I'm after. And people feel like they can come and create art, interact with other artists, buy some art, see me, talk to my dog, maybe end up in a painting like you said. I mean, that's great. And then I really believe that if we can foster something, I know I've been using that word, if we can create something local that has an impact locally. We have to remember, and this is through my, we're the 13th biggest, now right when I say it's either 13th or 16th biggest city in California and the 63rd biggest city in the United States. So we're nothing to shake a stick at. You hear that, Stockton? Calm down. Quit beating yourself up. We're somebody.
That's right.
We
are somebody.
Well, I mean, just our size. I think people forget. We're in California, and California in and of itself, that means something. I mean, we're shakers and movers. And then to be, gosh, I want to fact check this, Governor. I think it's 13th biggest in California.
And we're right by the Delta. And
right.
We have the Port of Stockton. We have the waterway.
Why are we struggling? What is really going on here?
We need the city leaders to make a bigger commitment to the arts.
13th. I knew. Okay, see? 13th biggest in California.
Oh,
I knew that one.
I just wanted to bring up, you were telling me that, like, the Miracle Mile could be an arts district.
Yeah.
And, you have the Goodwin Gallery. That's been there,
Goodwin?
Since 2000. And, but the Stockton Art League started in 1936. That's over 80 years. You have the Art Lab now, and you had the Art Expressions. Unfortunately, I just found out that they're going to be shutting down at the end of February. But
they will still be doing their pop-up events.
Yes, they will.
The different locations.
And they're the gallery on the move.
Yeah,
and we need to support all the galleries in Stockton. We used to have the Tidewater downtown, and that closed down. We do have the Mexican Heritage Center.
Right,
have you been
downtown? Yeah, it's a great building.
So,
isn't it the Masonic building?
Yes, it is. And so we have some wonderful galleries, but, you know, we need these spaces. I need a space to make my art, and so many people are looking for a space.
So I have a new slogan for the mile. So it's spend a while on the mile, and the mile will make you smile.
Yes.
Huh, Governor?
All right. Wonderful.
Well, I mean,
We need that
I agree with
on
you.
a T-shirt.
Well, no, and I agree with you. I think really what needs to happen is, as much as I want to say government pay attention to us, we got to get away from that, right? Because, in my opinion, because an artist, part of what an artist is any means necessary. We do what we do because we have to.
Sure.
Because there's something deep inside that's saying, hey, pick this up, make an image, create something, share that, don't share that, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And it's up to us. It's up to the individual artist and the artist as a collective to get out there and to take the art to the streets. And you see that in major cities, and that's my point. Stockton is a major city. Let me repeat that. Stockton is a major city. Let's start acting like it. Recognize who we are, right? Quit letting people run us over and tell us how high our crime rate is and, you know, how we're in bankruptcy.
And we were the most miserable city. And no,
well,
we're
isn't
not.
Bankruptcy a good thing? Everybody I know who went through bankruptcy couldn't be happier. They got to start over. So what's the big deal? I mean, great. We went through bankruptcy. Great. Mistakes were made. Big deal. Big deal. Let's go sell us some asparagus and get
there
back.
We go.
Let's get some walnuts out there and let's get going. So, I mean, for me, it's a call to the artist to get out there and start creating some art, because people want art in their city. And if we rely on the government to do it, they have their own constituents. They have their own. They need to get reelected, and to get reelected, they need to show a bottom line that makes sense financially. And a lot of people who want something to make sense financially are not concerned about the artistic aesthetics of a city. They should be, and in their soul they are, but they don't know it because they're paying more attention to their wallet than their soul, which is understandable.
I think, though, the arts, when I was studying, I got my master's in urban planning.
Oh, yeah.
The arts is what gives us quality of life.
It's part of it.
That's what we should invest all of our money in, and then the rest of it will come. So, put it all
far out, man.
Put it all into the arts.
I love it. I love it. But again, I really think that we have to take it. We have to make it happen on our own. We cannot rely on it, because historically in this town, it doesn't happen. So it's time for us to make a stand, to make a point, and to say, here's what's important to us as citizens. Let's get with it. And if that means starting with the mile, if that means starting with the art lab and letting it flow out into the streets, so be it. Let's go. I'm ready. I will carry that torch. I will take that burden on personally. Okay. Because I know it's out there and I know people want it. And it's one of those things. It's like, Thai food or sushi. You don't know how good it is until you try it. You don't know what you're missing until you've tried it. And I think a lot of people don't realize how big of a void in their life there is because they've never been exposed to it. So many people at Stockton, especially young people, have never left Stockton. Mm-hmm. They don't know what it's like to walk down an alley with 50 murals like in San Francisco. Exactly. Or they don't know what it's like to see 2 or 3 artists get together and take over a wall and really make something that's meaningful, or to see an image that impacts them in ways they didn't even, like a book or a song, Mm-hmm. There's definitely exposure to music and some of those other things with the internet, but you can't. Seeing an image online or a painting online just doesn't have the same impact as having it right in front of you and interacting with it. There's something about being in front of a piece of art. And then the size of it, too, can really have a lot of impact. Mm-hmm. When you're looking on your phone, I mean, that's as big as it is. When the thing is 15 by 20 foot and it's staring at you and the people in it look like you and the story they're telling is a story a lot like yours, all of a sudden there's this connection that, well, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's real. It's in this world of smoke and mirrors, the art's real. Mm-hmm. It's not being made to be sold. And if it gets sold, fine, great. And people do have to pay rent. But it's being made, it's visceral. It's being made because it has to be made. Mm-hmm. It's like breathing, right? We have to breathe or we fall over. Yeah, there has to be art or we shrivel up.
I did a show, and I said I wanted to have this be a traveling show over at the Mexican Heritage Center. It was called A World Without Art. And you walk into the gallery, and we put up a drape, and all you could see was the sign, A World Without Art. And it was just totally blank. You walk down the road, just walk in the gallery and walk past the curtain, and you turn, and there's all the art. So you either have a world without art, there's nothing, or a world with art is everything.
Right. I like that. I know what side of the drape I'd want to be on.
So I thank you, Drew, for coming and sharing all about the art lab and what you do. And I'm really excited to see that mural at the Chavez Library. That's going to be up February.
Yeah, whatever that Tuesday is, I don't know.
I think it's 12th.
I'm really encouraging people to come look at it first at the lab, though, because I think the library is, you're going to see it because you're there for other reasons, But I would like people to come see it at the lab, because I think then you can see how you can be a part of it, and then you can see kind of what we're doing there and what's coming out.
Yeah.
And what's actually happening, so on that same Saturday, it's February the 10th, ours is from 6 to 10, the 1850 Collective is doing a show at Goodwin. They're having their opening night, which I was blown away, because I thought, how cool is that you can come and on a Saturday night in Stockton, go from one opening and walk 50 feet, 2 crosswalks,
There we go.
and you're at another opening. I don't know when's the last time that happened. But
So I think,
fact check that, Governor.
Their reception is from 4 to 7.
Yeah. Perfect.
So it's they have a reception every second Saturday from 4 to 7.
Oh.
And then
Right.
you have the art lab is just a block away.
Right.
So that's wonderful, just to have everything.
Yeah,
concentrated.
February 10th, we got a date, and so I'm excited about that. And I got to tell you, Joy, I love Stockton. I really love Stockton. I really do. This is my spot. This is my town. This is where the people are. Everyone talks about moving on up and leaving and all that, but let's get it right.
When did you come back? You said
2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 10 years.
Yeah, a little more than that. 15, about 14 or 15 years I was gone.
But that you've been back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez.
10 years.
10 years, and the world ends in 2 years. So, yeah, that's about right. That's about right. So we got 2 years to make Stockton great, and then who cares?
No.
Then forget about it.
Well, I hear that the world isn't going to end if we make Stockton great.
Oh,
That's it. Stockton is great. So
if we can save Stockton, that's it. So if we save Stockton, if we save Stockton, we save the world.
That's
now
it.
that is heavy,
it.
folks. We must save Stockton to save the world.
Exactly.
There is today's message. We've changed it. Save Stockton, save the world. That belongs on a shirt.
There we go. So
save our world. Huh.
I think that's it for today on Behind the Art Scene.
We did it.
Well, let's all come over to the Art Lab. What's the
Art Lab?
What is the address?
So 2001 Pacific Avenue,
Okay.
which I always equate to 2001 A Space Odyssey. If you know that one, you can't go wrong.
So 2001 Pacific, and your opening for your mural is February 10th.
Yeah, and we're at StocktonArtLab.com on Instagram and Facebook. We're StocktonArtLab.com. No, not .com. Stockton Art Lab. And then our website, StocktonArtLab.com. And our phone number, 948-3075.
All right. See you next time on Behind the Art Scene at KXVS, the voice of Stockton.
Stockton!